Welcome to the newest episode of Beatin' and Bangin'. I'm your host, Kyle Dalton. We've got some really interesting things to talk about in this video, including some noteworthy paint schemes for a couple of Cup teams returning from the Olympic break, a cautionary tale from Chris Buescher when it comes to watching YouTube videos on NASCAR, a personal confession of mine that relates to that, a fun story that I need your help with as we're going to do some shopping for a special Christmas in August where I'm giving presents to you. And finally, a story on Kyle Larson shutting down a fan who doubted his driving ability. However, before we get to those stories, first, I want to say I hope everyone enjoyed their little break from racing action and are as ready as I am to get back in the swing of things with this weekend's pair of races at Richmond. Coming up in this weekend's Cup race on the 3/4 mile track, I thought there were a couple of paint schemes worth mentioning. Starting with Chase Elliott in the number 9 car. As you likely heard, the 2020 champ was supposed to be running the Hooter scheme this weekend, but it was announced that the HMS team had parted ways with the restaurant chain last month. I know there was a lot of speculation on who might be on the car. Well, they answered that question this week when it was revealed the number 9 car would be decked out in a Coca-Cola scheme that is absolutely awesome. I know I'm a Coke fan already, so I'm definitely biased, but I don't think anyone will argue that this isn't a fantastic looking scheme and will look great this weekend in Virginia. But that's certainly not the only paint scheme that will be getting the fans' attention this weekend. The number 1 car of Ross Chastain will be as well, and when you see photos of it, you'll know why. This car with Jockey as the primary sponsor will be getting plenty of double takes for the watermelon farmer as the artwork creates the illusion of transparency, showing Chastain seated inside the car wearing nothing but his Jockey boxer briefs. It's all part of celebrating National Underwear Day, which was on Monday, August 5th. You're welcome. I absolutely love the creativity on this scheme because it's something different and definitely attention-grabbing. And if you don't get a chance to see this scheme on the number 1 car this weekend at Richmond, you'll have another chance to see it next weekend at Michigan with Daniel Suarez and the number 99 Trackhouse car. Moving on to our next story, and this is one I've been waiting to talk about for a few weeks now. Here in Texas, we're hitting 100+ degrees every day, and I'm looking for anything and everything to help keep me cool. Since I don't have a pool, I'm having to be creative, and one of the ways is thinking about some much cooler temps at Christmas time. But that's not all. I want to take coolness to another level, so I'm going to have an impromptu Christmas in August. And here's the best part. I'm Santa Claus, and I'm giving away the presents to you guys. But not just any old gifts. I'm happy to announce I've partnered with Pristine Marketplace, which is a phenomenal website that offers authentic sports memorabilia from your favorite driver, including autographed helmets, die-cast cars, race-used tire pieces, and suits signed by current stars and legendary figures. Plus, they have a ton of other signed collectibles from your favorite NFL, MLB, and NBA teams and players. Seriously, go check out their site and see for yourself. As part of that partnership and to celebrate Christmas in August, I'm going on a NASCAR-specific shopping spree, but I need your help. I need you guys to go check out their site and identify 3 or 4 NASCAR-specific items that you want on your personal Christmas in August wish list. Then include your items in the comments. And don't be shy, there is no limit on price. I'm going to go through all the comments, and next week, we'll go on Pristine Marketplace and buy some of your selected items. And then the best part of it all, I will be giving away all of those items to you. Just remember, you have to comment with specific NASCAR items from the Pristine Marketplace to be eligible. Don't go crazy with 10 items, but also don't just put 1. I'm thinking 3 is probably the sweet spot. And ho, ho, ho. And now to another story that is both funny and serious. Not sure if you saw it, but I interviewed Chris Buescher earlier this year at Texas Motor Speedway, his home track. We had a great conversation about his life and career and dove into the details, including him leaving home as a teen and taking Dale Carnegie classes at age 15. The reason I bring all of this up is because the 31-year-old driver reacted in an RFK Racing video on YouTube this week to an AI-produced video on himself and his quote-unquote luxury lifestyle. Here's a clip.
And glamour of professional racing.
That's
in
not
Prosper,
Prosper.
Texas, a town where football reigned
football.
supreme, young Chris found himself drawn to the roar of engines and the thrill of speed. With the support of his parents, Jim and Donna Buescher, Chris embarked on a journey that
Those were
would
my
change
parents,
his
by the
life
way.
forever.
They did get that right.
At the age
Funny stuff, and I have to admit, I laughed multiple times during the entire video, especially all the times where his name was mispronounced or him calling out they're using photos of homes that he never lived in. While I find Buescher's response hilarious, the subject itself I take very seriously, and here's why. I'm sure many of you have noticed over the last couple of years the massive increase of NASCAR-specific channels and videos that show up in your YouTube feed that are similar to this video. As the RFK Racing video thumbnail headline read, they're clickbait videos produced by AI. And now, for the first time ever, I want to address this subject and also make a candid admission. In the past, many of these videos and their content have been stolen directly from me. What do I mean? First, here's my admission. I know many of you have commented in the past that my voice sounds similar to the voice on the After the Checkered Flag channel. Well, kudos to all of you and your detective work. You're right, that is me. I launched the channel in December 2021 as a fun little side hobby where I would produce videos that were similar to stories that I wrote at my previous job at sportscasting.com. Much to my surprise, the channel picked up some momentum and began to grow. In 2022, with my channel humming along, I also started noticing other channels popping up. It was problematic. No, I wasn't afraid of the competition. I think that's healthy, and I respect other NASCAR YouTubers like Eric Estep. I think he does a fantastic job, but he also does his own original work. These new channels were flat out copying both my written work and videos. In some cases, a channel would produce a video and literally copy my story verbatim and include that as the script. In other cases, it was more discreet, but you knew it was AI because it would take my story and just modify a few words throughout the article. I don't want to give these channels any unnecessary publicity, but I will focus on one that has stolen a lot of my work and has more than 25,000 subscribers. It's called NASCAR Zone. Here's an example I want to show you from December 2022. I wrote a story on Haley Deegan at sportscasting.com where I talked about the comments of Larry McReynolds, which I heard on Sirius XM NASCAR radio. Now, here's the video I produced on that story for After the Checkered Flag, and I want you to focus on a very specific segment because it includes both my own original photos and videos that I personally took at Texas Motor Speedway. Here's my version.
And to me, a third season, the rubber's meeting the road. You're going to have. I don't care how many YouTube followers you have or social media. That's all grand. That's all great. Gonna have to start performing on that thing called a racetrack.
Now, here's the version on NASCAR Zone.
And to me, a third season, the rubber's meeting the road. You're going to have. I don't care how many YouTube followers you have or social media. That's all grand. That's all great. Gonna have to start performing on that thing called a racetrack.
Notice any difference? That's because you can't, because it's the exact same thing. And just to further prove that they took it from me and not the other way around, take a look at the dates. Here's mine. Here's theirs. 10 days later. I know some of you might say, well, go to YouTube and get them to take care of it. Trust me, I tried. It's a complicated process, and what I learned was it wasn't really worth it because they weren't the only ones doing it. I put together a spreadsheet at the time, and during the height of it, I counted 6 channels who were regularly copying either my written work, my videos, or both. To be honest, all of that is what inspired me to start Beating and Banging. I figured the only way to truly combat that was A, to go on camera so people would know that I'm producing these original videos, and B, produce videos with more than one story so I had more content and it would make it more challenging for them to steal my content. Thankfully, that has worked. It's really unfortunate that it's happened, but that's the digital world that we live in, and AI is making it exponentially worse. I would just recommend to all of you guys that if you watch a video and it can't get the basic names of the drivers right, you might want to reconsider watching videos from that channel in the future. And if it has a crazy proclamation like this that sounds too crazy to be true, it probably is. All right, Enough of my rant, but as you can tell, this has been on my heart for a while now, and the Chris Buescher video provided me with an opportunity to address it. Oh yeah, and to all of you who said I was AI on After the Checkered Flag, and some of you who still insist that I'm an AI voice on Beating and Banging, I just can't help you. And finally, our last item for the day is a response from Kyle Larson this week on X after a fan made a comment doubting the driver's ability. It started when SiriusXM NASCAR Radio's Dave Moody commented on a Flow Racing post that showed Larson winning a sprint car race in Iowa. Let's just be clear, Kyle Larson could win in a shopping cart, the veteran announcer suggested, to which a random fan replied, "When you're able to spend the kind of money he has, I would sure hope so." Larson, who in my opinion has really upped his social media game as of late, replied to the fan with some comments and a video that disproved the fan's suggestion. Good afternoon, at Rob Sports Show. Here's a glimpse into our budget. This is car owner Paul Silva 57 dumpster diving for parts to save a tiny bit of money. And oh, by the way, we won on another team's used tires the last 3 races. Ouch! Additional comments in the post revealed that it's a part-time car, which is obviously driven by a part-time driver. In other words, it's not like they're even close to the top equipment in the field. And Larson's final remarks about using used tires from another team in the last 3 races was the exclamation point for me. Props to Larson for enlightening this fan and the rest of us as to what exactly he's working with during some of his races outside of NASCAR. All right, everyone, that's a wrap on this episode. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's start with those paint schemes. What do you think of what Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain will be driving this weekend in Richmond? Secondly, what did you think about Chris Buescher's response to the Clickbait AI video and my thoughts on that subject? And were you one of the ones who thought I was the voice of After the Checkered Flag? I'm really curious. And what do you think about Kyle Larson's response to that fan? Do you like Larson's use of social media as of late? And finally, don't forget to go check out Pristine Marketplace and find some NASCAR items you'd like to possibly receive for Christmas in August, and let me know about them in the comments section. Thanks as always for supporting the channel, and have a great rest of your day.